No, Leandra, start.
Oh, okay, sure, no problem. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is DeAndre. And just a quick note, today's webinar will be purely educational. If you have any specific questions about your own environment or just like to know something more about cybersecurity, you're more than welcome to reach out to our tech team or pop a question in the chat. Just quickly to introduce our keynote speaker today, it is the CEO of Hoplon, Rock. Rock, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Leandra. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So today we'll be discussing a few interesting topics like global trends in cybersecurity, what is the latest trends in cyber threats, tips and tricks to protect yourself, and finally some new and exciting developments that's currently happening. So just jumping in there and let's talk about the latest cyber threats and like real world attacks. What's happening right now?
Absolutely. So right now, as we go and move forward, every day we are getting attacks day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. So out of that, I would like to bring one of the example. It happened last year, September 2025. And the reason that I choose this example, because most of the people, we believe it won't happen to us. We are not the target. So
Yeah,
it is something, happened somewhere which nobody thought it will happen. So
absolutely.
this happened in a kindergarten school. So it's kind of
No way.
surprise. It's quite surprising, So one day, as one of the kindergarten school was under attack, and then they were kind of looking into it and trying to find out what happened, how they were hacked into it. So once they start deep dive into it, and then they found their cloud-based communication system is the one they were used to hacked into their system. In this case, this is the attack vector they used. In this, when they started deeper, and then they got more surprised because, you know, it was attacked by someone we didn't think it could be possible. It was attacked by two teenagers. So those two teenagers, they were just playing around, and then they said, "Oh, okay, we can try to hack into their cloud system because this is so easy." So that's how they were locked into their system, and then deep dive into their system. What exactly happened? They used their cloud communication system as an attack vector. They logged into their system, and using this cloud communication system, they did a privilege escalation, and then they moved into their database. And from there, they saw around 8,000 students' data was there, their parents' data, everything was there. So what they did, they demanded a ransomware for to get the service back. And eventually, they got caught by police and law enforcement, because remember, we talked in the beginning, they're just two teenagers. They're not somebody who knows how to do a ransomware, right? So from this particular scenario, right, couple of things we can understand. Number one, nobody is above the radar. It can happen to
Yeah.
anyone. Number one. Number two, what we should do, right, in kind of these scenarios. So before I go into what we should do, I would like to tell you a couple of more things here, right? What happened? Because they were using cloud-based communication system which were not up to date. The patches was not up to date. So there were some vulnerabilities into this system. And this is the vulnerability those teenagers were used to attack into their system. And this is the pathway they were entered into their system. And from there, what we can tell is what we can do. We can use zero trust architecture, which is trust but verify. and also cloud security that could be something that we can prevent this attack easily. So, in a nutshell, in today's world, security is something that everyone should take it seriously because in a digital space, right? mm, this is a safety. This is not luxury anymore. This is a necessity for us, as we can
Yeah,
see from this particular example. Yes.
but is these attacks only happening to businesses? Like, I mean, a kindergarten sounds pretty small, but it's still a business. Is it only happening to businesses and enterprises? And I mean, what can an individual expect?
Absolutely, that's a very good question. There are two type of people in this world right now. One type is already hacked, and another type is they are hacked already, but they don't know. Their data is already leaked. So I'm pretty sure, Leandre, you might get text messages sometimes that they said, "Okay, we have a job offer for you for
Yeah.
this particular role." Do you even think about it? Why are you getting this text?
No,
Because
you don't.
because your data is leaked somewhere. That's why you are getting this text. And when this data is leaked, it doesn't mean that you are going to be used with this data. So once they get the data, they do reconnaissance. They would try to find out about you, whatever that we can find in the outside world. Then they will try to find out your vulnerabilities, whatever the vulnerabilities that we can use. And then next thing they will do, which is they will identify the attack vector. Attack vector is like how they will try to attack you. In this particular scenario, we talked about text. Text is the way that communication. And another thing that most of the cases is we have to build the trust. They don't attack your system, they attack you because you can have a software in your phone, but you still hacked. Think about it. This cloud system, we just talked about it. They have a security system in place, but they didn't update the security system, right? Same thing, you might have so many software installed in your system, but you have to educate yourself. You have to know where you should click and where you shouldn't, what you should do and what you shouldn't. For an attacker, all they have to do, trust. Once they build the trust, that's all they need. They can attack you. To answer your question, yes, it could happen to anyone in this world, not only the businesses. It could be an individual person as well.
That is quite interesting. So, I mean, how does your data get leaked and how do you protect yourself against that?
That's I would say, like, let's take a deep dive into that, right? In a personal level, right? So
Yeah,
I'm just gonna spell out few companies' name. I'm not targeting on them. I'm just giving you an information, right? So
sure.
like for Meta, like Facebook. So if you go to our Facebook app, into the App Store, it could be iOS, it could be Android. If you go to an App Store, you can see how many data has been, uh, how many time it has been uh, downloaded, right? So from there, you
Mhm.
can see, right, uh, it could be like 10 million or 8 million, somewhere around there. So we have around 8 million, 8 billion download. So we have around
Um,
8 billion people in this world. It doesn't mean everybody downloaded more than once, but it could happen, right? So in this scenario, if you go to that app, you can see, right, that in that particular app, that it has what are the data they are collecting, right? They're collecting some data, right? Your date of birth, your geolocation, your financial history, your email address, and your whatever the health data that you have. So that means they are letting you know these are the data we are collecting, and we are giving them permissions. And this is
mhm.
how the data is going with our own permission to everywhere. And there is one more incident that I would like to bring it up, that last few
Yeah,
months back,
please.
16 billion password was leaked. So
Oh
that
my
means,
goodness.
yes, that means your password has been leaked also out there, right? So this
Yeah,
is not just us. We have to be careful. It's like everybody in the world. And with password, there's one thing that I would like to let you know. It doesn't matter how big you make the password. Yes, it makes a difference. However, you need to have a multi-factor authentication in order to protect.
yeah,
Because I would like to give you one more incident what happened. So this
yeah.
is one of our customers, and he was using Gmail. So he's on one of our customers, and he reached out to us and he said, "Hey, somebody's using my Gmail and sending threats to my son's school." And I was like, "Okay, so let's see what we can do." So we went there and we said, "Okay, how many devices you have?" And he said, "I only have cell phone, I only have laptop, so only two devices." And I said, "Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's log out from both of the devices and let's do change the password and make sure that you are not logged into those devices." And he's like, "Okay," he's following that. And what we saw in that Gmail, that there was some scheduled mail. So somebody logged into his Gmail and scheduled an email to send that to the school. And I was like, "Okay, let's remove all this scheduling and things like that. Okay, we know that somebody's using your Gmail. Your password has been compromised. Let's reset the password and let's start from fresh." And he's like, "Okay." Then after a couple of weeks, he gave us a call again, and it happened again. And we were like, "Okay, it's strange. Okay, let's see what we can do." So what we did, we took their laptop and we did a digital forensic. From the digital forensic, what we found, his passcode, Google provide a passkey. If you go to Google and you have 10 passkeys that you can download it and put it somewhere safe. So his passkeys was saved in his laptop. And somebody was using in his laptop, we're using those passkeys. And then we went to Google, and you can see in the Google and like how many times you logged into your Gmail, what are those IP addresses. And then we saw 3 times somebody logged into his Gmail while he was not at home. So I talked to him and I said, "Hey, you were at home and this time you were." Then he said, "No, I was not at home on this particular time." So we find out from there that his kid was using his Gmail and sending a threat email to his school. So this is this is happening. So is this is why it's very important where you save your password, where you save your passkeys. You never know who is using what, right? So this
Exactly.
is this is a real time example that we have seen with our one of our customer.
Oh, goodness. I mean, you talked about like the permissions we give like apps and like Facebook and Google. I mean, with the passkeys, we give a lot of apps our permission to use our data, but all of them say like it's private. We'll keep your information private. But what does privacy actually mean?
This is a very good question. So privacy is something like a volume, like TV volume. You can increase the volume, you can decrease the volume. Privacy is also a
Hmm.
button like that. You can increase your privacy and you can decrease your privacy. So
Okay.
for example, let me tell you a very good example. You have a Google account, right? You have a Gmail, and
Yeah.
you use Google Chrome. So many people use Google Chrome. Most of the cases, what we do, we logged in with the Gmail account into those Google Chrome, and we saved all our bank password, our school password, our bill payment, everything we saved into the Google Chrome browser under
Yes.
your Gmail account. So in this particular scenario, all you need is just your Gmail account. So if I have your Gmail access, I can log in with your Gmail to Google Chrome browser. And if I go logged into the Google Chrome browser, I will be able to see all the password you have saved, right? So all I need is my Gmail account or your Gmail account. So this is where the vulnerabilities are. So we have to make sure we shouldn't save our password into the browser. And also at the same time, we shouldn't save uh, all the data that we use. Sometimes our first name, last name, browser knows everything. First name, last name, your address, your zip code, your social security number, everything is saved there into the browser. So we shouldn't do that. And the next thing is, this is another thing that it was in news a few weeks back, which is the browser extension. When you have a browser extension to sometime, save uh, browser extension on your browser to do an ad block. Like let's say you are watching something in YouTube and you want to block the ad using those browser extension, right? So in this particular scenario, you are doing it for the good, but they are collecting your data. So whenever something is free, we are the product of that free service. So we have to think about it. And to answer your question, we can protect it such a way like we can have like remove some of the data from there, some of the permission, like for example, like WhatsApp, you can give your permission to read your text message or read your images and things like that. You can turn it off, that information. Because what WhatsApp is doing is reading through your text message, and from there they're customizing the ad for you so that you can demonstrate those ads, right? So that is something is very much important, I would say, in terms of uh, privacy and in terms of setting those up.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, if you're looking at individual cybersecurity, like protecting your email or your WhatsApp, I mean, is it really a necessity or is it a luxury? Because I mean, everything costs money. So do you think it's actually important to protect your WhatsApp, protect your text messages, your email as an individual?
Okay, so yes, that is very important. And this is not always money. Like for example, you talked about WhatsApp, right? What we can do, we can enable two-factor authentication for the WhatsApp. So there is a place in the security settings you can create a two-factor authentication. With that two-factor authentication, nobody can hack into your WhatsApp unless until they have that 6-digit PIN code that there. Make sure do not use your date of birth for the PIN code, because a lot of people know about your date of birth, right? They can guess those date of birth. Like for example, if you have a Facebook, a lot of people give you birthday wishes in Facebook. So that way they know that your birthday is April 1st or April 15th, right? So next time they try to hack something, what they will do, those are the common things: birth of the place, name of the pet. Then another thing is like where you locate, name of your spouse, last name. Those things we shouldn't use. We should avoid. That's number one. And number two, as you mentioned, that is it costly? Not at all. All we have to do, we have to be aware of the situation, what exactly is going on, and how to protect ourselves. Again, I will go back to the one that I said: build the trust. Attackers not attacking your device; they are attacking you. So they wanted to build the trust with you so that they can attack. So if somebody send you a text message or somebody calling you, that means they pretty much know a lot of things about you. If they call you and say, "Hey, I saw you somewhere in Miami last week. you were actually there in Miami. But you would be surprised, like, hey, I didn't post any post or any picture in social media, but you were there with one of your friend who posted that picture in a social media. And from that picture, that person know that you were in Miami last week. And then you will feel like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. Then that way he will try to build the trust. So that is
Trust.
something.
Yeah.
And another thing that in terms of security, what we can do, there is something called mobile security. You can install that mobile security in your device. Is very cheap, is less than a cup of coffee. And also another thing is, if you think like, okay, we don't know what to do and what not. So in that particular scenario, you can educate yourself about cybersecurity, what you should do and what you shouldn't. That is another piece I would suggest.
Makes a lot of sense. But I mean, where do you even begin? I mean, looking at like a global scale, what is happening right now? And I mean, what should a person be aware of? And what is important for like even individuals and businesses to understand why this is important?
Absolutely. So I would like to share some data with you, but before I do that, what I would do, I will give you some examples. So number one is we have to be educate ourselves. We have to try to stay up to date what's going on around the world in terms of businesses. And there is something called cybersecurity assessment. You should do an assessment every quarter, bare minimum, to understand
Mhm.
where your business stand. Is there any
Yeah.
vulnerabilities that you need to take care? This bare minimum we should do. There is another level from there is penetration testing. Try to test your environment as a outside of somebody, outside of your organization. Try to see if you can hack into their system or not. There's something you can do. And next thing is you talked about what exactly is going around the world. So what I will do, I will share my screen, and I will share a map. This is a live map right now. So if I can share my screen, so if you can see, this
Yeah.
is where. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes.
So this is a live map. In this map, we can see what are the countries are the top attackers are from. Here is saying United States. It doesn't mean that it has been attacked by United States because somebody might be using Amazon AWS and launching those attacks. And top attacked, where exactly is happening? You can see 32% in United States, India 23%, Japan is 18%, Canada is 14%, and Switzerland is 13%. And here you can see what are the top attack vectors. In this case, you see that 91% is TCP flood, and UDP is like around 6%. And what are the top application violations, access violation in this case? Simple terms, what we can understand is basically, right, user access and credential. And the next one is injection. It could be any kind of injection, malicious code injection. It could be SQL injection to a database, exploitation, like it is happening, data theft, that is 3%, and cross-site scripting. And if you see, we said 91% is happening from TCP. So if we go to TCP, we can say that 5900, which is basically is an port which is used for VPN tunnel, and this is the most of the attacks is happening that way. And 443, which is an HTTP code, HTTP port. And if I go back to this map, you can see the types of attacks. So here we have web attackers, DDoS attackers, intruders, scanners, and also so on. And you can, if you want a more detailed report about this, you can go there and you can download a report. This is what we can see overall in last 1 hour. Think about it. This many attack is happening in last 1 hour. It's constantly
Yeah.
happening. If I go back to 24 hours, you can see things has been changed in terms of 24 hours. And the
Mhm.
port is still the 5900, right? And for this is 6881. And the country has been changed a little bit. The percentage has been changed. You see, Australia was introduced. Before was not Australia. And top attacker, Brazil, United Kingdom, China, Bulgaria, those guys are present in 24 hours. And if I move back to first month, for last 1 month, you can see Brazil is number two for the month, for the last 30 days. And you can see type of attacks, and you can see the ports, what are the ports are there. And access violation is the number one all over the place. So this
Yeah.
is where is very important what we access, how we access, and what are the process that we are doing to access our data, access our server, access our applications, and all those details.
I mean, this is
Okay.
quite interesting, but I mean, looking at a perspective from an outsider that doesn't understand, I mean, what this means, how can they or how can we use this information to protect our businesses, to protect our data? Like, what can we learn from this?
Absolutely. So the main reason that I wanted to show you this, guys, the map is not to scare you guys. I wanted to give you the real
Mhm.
picture. What exactly is happening?
Yeah.
We are thinking today it's not happening to me. I'm safe. It doesn't matter. It could happen to you tomorrow. So it's better to be prepared. So that is the main reason that I showed this map. And from this map, what we can learn, we need to protect our system, we need to protect our accesses, we need to protect our data. So how we do that? By doing a cybersecurity best practices. How we can do this cybersecurity best practices? The first place we should start, which is a cybersecurity assessment. We should do a cybersecurity assessment and try to feel where we are, right? In America, what we do every year is like a kind of a physical checkup, right? To see where is our sugar level, where is our blood level, right? All those details. We go to
Yeah.
doctor and say, hey, let's do a regular checkup. So same thing with this, our systems that we use every day, we should do a checkup as well. We try to see what it, because this is where our data lives in, right? We have our financial data, we have our pictures from our personal life, we have our business data. Because you would be surprised to know right now, that you can buy phishing as a service in the deep and dark web. So you don't have to be smart enough to launch a phishing, and it is like less than a meal. Like milk cost like $15 or 10 to $15, so it will be less than that. I'm not saying go and buy that phishing tool from the deep
Sure.
and dark web. I'm just letting you know this is how they're attacking this, right? Because think about it this way: before, it was somebody who has to know what they're doing with the code,
Understand the systems, yeah.
understand the system, understand the network. Now they don't have to do anything. All they have to do, okay, I want to run a system, I want to do phishing as a service, and they can do a phishing as a service. They are running this as a service. And another thing is ransomware as a service. If you want to do a ransomware for some company, you can do a ransomware as a service. So this is how broader this is going on. You know, that's why it's very important for us to understand where we stand and how to protect ourselves. That is the main priority, I would say.
So, but what happened like in the last year or 2 years? What has changed? Why has it become so accessible to be able to hire these services? What has changed?
Very good question. So you can relate to this. Right now, we all use AI, right? So
Yes, yeah,
AI
of
is
course.
using it for our own benefit. We are using for our life a lot more easier, right? We can do things a
Mm.
lot quicker with AI. Same thing, AI has been used to launch a sophisticated attack. So AI is there to launch sophisticated attacks for businesses, for schools, for individual personals and things like that. So this is how things are getting so much sophisticated and easy to launch attack. If you don't know coding, no problem. There is some AI. Go there and build a
An
code
AI that
and,
knows. Mm.
and just launch the attack, you know? So this is
I
how it
mean,
is going on.
I mean, that is quite interesting, but like how much AI is actually being used in like cyber attacks and cyber security? Because I mean, AI is becoming more and more, I almost want to say human-like. It's becoming harder and harder to recognize this. So how do you actually recognize this and how much is it being used? Is it something that we need to be afraid of?
So as of right now, we have to be aware of the situation and we have to educate ourselves. Before, if we launch a phishing email, you could have easily noticed those emails because there are some spelling mistakes. There is some pattern that you were writing emails, it doesn't match. Like for example, Leandre, you send me an email that I know the language that you kind of speak, the language that you write, right? So what is happening right now? AI is getting used to study your behavior, and from there, they are launching attack using Leandre as an example and sending an email. So by reading that email, I would know for a first second it's from Leandre because the way you are communicating to me is more natural compared to before. This is one way that AI has been used. And also AI has been used to understand the behavioral pattern. Like what you do, like for example, like how many times you log in, what time you log in, what are the IP address that you use to log in, what are the firewalls that been used. So all those things has been used to analyze the data. So this is how it's been getting more easier to launch that attack. So that's why in the cybersecurity space, we are also using AI to protect our systems and protect our data and things like that. So this is
Yeah,
where we are
that is.
standing right now.
That is that's very true. And I think as AI develops as well, it's getting harder and harder to differentiate between what's human and what's AI and how to detect that, especially if it's like a machine that kind of learns your style as well. But you guys recently developed quite an interesting application, right? It's called the Fax Detector AI, right?
That is correct. Yes. So
Okay.
we did build an application for fact detector AI. Yes, we did build that one.
Okay. Now, actually, I want to share my screen with everybody here so they can just see how cool this application actually is. So this is the website. It's called Fax Detector AI, and it's available currently in the United States, UK, the UAE, Pakistan, India, Canada, Bangladesh, Australia, South Africa. So it's available basically all over. And I just quickly want to show you guys how this works because this is really interesting. So basically what you do is you create a profile and then you can do anything with this to detect AI. So it takes images, videos. Now I just quickly want to run like a few examples of this. Let me just quickly pull up an image here. And then it will kind of detect like if the image is AI, if it's like edited with AI, or if it's real. And I just want to show you guys how cool it actually is. So this image we know that I've uploaded now, I know is AI. It's generated by AI. And I just want to show you how it actually works because it not only shows you the AI, right? It also shows you data about the image. Oh, it failed. Might be a connection problem here. Okay, now I'm having some connection issues here. Let me just quickly see. I can do this.
So maybe try to check the text.
Yes, let's do that. Okay, so let's say you're having a news article and you want to check if it is AI or if it's real news, and then you can just basically paste the text into this and detect the amount of AI, if it's fake news, if it's real.
So while this is loading,
Mm.
so I just wanted to give you a quick rundown. So
Yeah.
what exactly this is doing is basically, if it is a news that we will try to find out, is it a fake news or not? If it is a fake news, what we can do is uh, we can start to log in and try to see if this news is fake or not. So, Leandra, if you could go down, there are few images that has been already
Yes.
validated. So, if you could open up that one of those one of the images there, and then we can go from there. So, this image is partially AI, and you can see it's 89%. And if you go down, you can see the metadata of this particular image. This is a PNG image, and this is an analysis from there. And if you click on that analysis button on the left, here you can see how many percent was real, how many percent was AI, and what was the combination of AI and real. So if you could go back to the next image, next one of these false news that if you click on that one of the false news, if you go up, Donald Trump news, yeah, this one
Yeah,
you
in
can
video.
see you can see this is a false news, and why it is saying false news. What is the analysis
Oh,
behind
and it
it?
actually gives you a reference as well.
Yes, it kinds of give you a reference as well.
Oh, that is quite interesting. I mean, I'm sorry, my connection is so bad today, but this is a really interesting way to protect yourself, especially against fake news and like AI that is just taking over the world at the moment. This is a great site, and we'll share this in the chat for you guys as well, just to have a look there. Maybe you'll have some better luck with your Wi-Fi connection than I will. Um, but yeah, tell us what you guys are working on. You know, this is quite an interesting development, and I know it's quite recent. So, what are you guys currently working on?
Absolutely. So this is the app that you guys just saw. That one we are having another version coming up on Friday. There we will be
Mm.
able to validate our videos and making sure if this videos is AI generated or not. So basically, we are talking about deepfake videos. We will be able to identify those deepfake videos and make sure those videos are deepfake or not. So this will be out to live end of day Friday. So after 5 p.m. CST, we will be able to test this out. That's exciting, and there are a few more exciting features coming up in a couple of weeks from down the road. So that
Oh,
is
that is
there.
quite awesome.
Yes, yes. we are really excited about that.
Yeah. Okay, well, we have a question in the chat here from Shona. She said, "Hi, how safe is it to save your bank card details on Google, the autofill feature? It asks for your CVC code. Is this function safe?"
So thank you for the question, first of all. And you know, always better to not to save your card information into any browser, not Google,
Mhm.
because again, as I mentioned, like if somebody can logged into your computer, they can get your credential details. Sometimes if they have those information, they can misuse those information. Is always good to have not saved into the Google Chrome or any kind of browser. And I know it's time consuming. You need to type out all those 8 code, but it's always good to type out those information. It's always to save. As a
Oh, well.
cybersecurity standpoint, I would suggest
Mhm.
better to type in those information, not to save that into the browser.
Okay, interesting. Shona said thank you. I mean, building on top of that, is online purchases safe, or how do you know that your online purchases are safe when you have to put in your details?
Absolutely. So there are a few things that we can check, right? So let's say
Mm.
whenever we are trying to do a purchase, always make sure we are purchasing through something called HTTPS, which is like the secure protocol. We are following through that. Number one. Number two, always do a purchase through a trusted site. And if someone send you something in your social media, and it might look like a uh, Amazon link, but maybe behind the scene, they have something which they are pretty much capturing your information. So always try to copy that link and put it into a browser is not a safe practice. What if you see something which is from Amazon, go to amazon.com and then search for that particular item rather than clicking into that particular link. So that way you are safe that you are going to a particular um, e-commerce website where you are trying to make the purchase from.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Now, just for the audience, if somebody is or have a question, please pop it in the chat. We're going to go through some other common questions that a lot of people have. But if you have a specific question about your own environment, please feel free to ask. Rock has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge that he's willing to share. So please ask your questions. So some common questions that comes up a lot is like, what are some of the best practices businesses should do for cybersecurity?
So number one thing they should do, they should be at compliance with the business. For example, if we are talking about compliance, there are so many compliance out there. So we should be like, I'm just going to give you an example. So if you are an AI 42001, this is a compliance. So if we follow that compliance, that will help you to identify all the cybersecurity gap that you have, right? And the second thing is I already mentioned, and I would just piggyback on the same note, which is assessment, cybersecurity assessment. The moment you do assessment on your environment, you will know what is open, what is closed, how attackers can utilize those attack vectors and have that system uh, exploited using those attack vectors.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no, that
this is
makes
where
sense.
will be the starting point. And the second point we do as a service, which is red teaming, we will be act like a hacker, which is like ethical hacker. We will be try to
Mhm.
hack into your system and try to see if somebody outside of your organization, if they can hack into your system, that means there are some serious changes you need to perform in order to keep you guys safe.
Okay. And then you kind of find like the holes and the vulnerabilities in the system and that type of thing, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is quite interesting. But what can businesses expect from this assessment? Like you said, it's basically you hacking into their system. Is that even safe?
Okay. So couple of things. Let me take a step back. So if we do an assessment, with that assessment, what we will do is we will identify what are the loopholes that out there the attacker can exploit. That's number one. Number two is we can provide you the recommendation how to protect. What are the open door that you have, how to close those doors, right?
Mhm.
And number two is, uh, like in terms of penetration testing or red teaming, what we don't do perform that assessment. Rather than doing the assessment, we will be act like a hacker, try to hack into your system using those vulnerabilities already out there. So that way
Mhm.
it will give you an idea. If we don't fix this, someone else will exploit those vulnerabilities and try to attack in your system.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we have another question here from Mary. Are all cybersecurity providers the same? How do I choose the right one? What do I need to look out for? And what are the signs to look out for? Are there any questions I should ask? And I'm guessing this is all in terms of, different cybersecurity providers. Thanks for the question, Mary.
So to answer your question, so I would like to give you an example before I answer your question, right? So we all use vehicles, right? We have car, we have SUVs, we have van. So your target is you want to go to office from your home, right, to your workplace. So if your target is to just to make the travel from one point to point two, like from your home to your office, in this case, you can use SUV, you can use van, you can use car. It can be any vehicle will solve your purpose, right? So when you know your problem, like for example, you have 7 members in your family, for example. So in this case, car will not be sufficient. You need a 7-seater van or 7-seater SUV to make that travel. So in this scenario, cybersecurity providers, they are expert on certain areas. They are expert on
Mhm.
certain tools. So you have to identify where you are standing, what you have today. If you have something today, then go from there. If you don't have anything, you don't know where to start, the best place to start is do an assessment. Find out where you stand today. Once you know you are standing here, you have an email security, then you can say, okay, I have only have email security, I don't have anything. However, I store data into the cloud. That means yes, you need a security for your cloud system as well to protect your cloud system, which is cloud
Mhm.
security. Or maybe you are using so many APIs, so there are so many API calls out there. So in that scenario, we will have to find out those API security system as well, right? Because sometimes we believe that okay, we have our data into Amazon cloud, or we have GCP or Azure, is not 100% safe in this scenario, because the moment you are accessing the data, that might be a time you get vulnerable. So
Mhm.
it is important to see where you are standing in order to make a decision or a firm decision about your security. So to Mary's question, I would say start from the bottom. Where is the assessment? Try to see where are you, what to do, and from there talk to cybersecurity experts and talk to cybersecurity professionals. They will guide you, and this is where we stand. This is what we need. So that way you can move forward. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
sure. Yes, Rock, thanks, Mary. I hope that really helps you and to give you an idea of how to find the right provider for you. And Rock, just like one last question from my side then. What are some common mistakes that people make that put themselves at risk? Like, what are we not thinking about?
So first thing is whenever like most common still today, the most common attack vector is phishing email, phishing text. So these are the two main areas most of the people falls for. And we should take this thing seriously because it is happening everywhere. It could happen here and there in our life as well. So the way we would suggest, so whenever you see an urgency in the message, hey, you need to do this right now, that is an alarming thing. So we should look for the message that email and things like that we get. And also another thing, whenever you received an email from anonymous person, do not click on that link. Do not open the attachment. And with that, what we can suggest is like if it is a business, business should have an email security in place. And with that, you can have scanned your email and make sure this is not a phishing email. So you might be asking me, okay, I'm using Microsoft Office 365. Why should I need an email security, right? So in this scenario, what I would say, Microsoft Office 365 is providing email security. That is true. However, that is not sufficient enough. So in order to protect yourself, you should have an extra layer of security. Security is like layering up, right? For example, I just want to give you another example, right? So in if you drive a car, I will go back to the car example again. If you drive a car, you have a nowadays you have your, like for example Tesla, you have your car key on your cell phone, right? So from there, people can see if somebody has your cell phone access, people can see where you've been traveling. They can see your destinations. They can see your pattern. When do you go to office? What time you go? What time you start? All those things. So in that way, it will be easy to trackle down your journey and see what is going on in your life. So from there, I can build a trust in you, saying that I know you, you know me. Those are the things that, again, is building a trust is the main factor to have this security measures in place.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rock, for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And just one last thing, we will be hosting another webinar soon on AI development, because it is kind of a hot topic right now. I know everybody is kind of, it's like when the internet came out, everybody was kind of on the fence. Is it good? Is it bad? So we'll be doing a deep dive into that and what you can expect and just general information about it. So the dates and time will be announced on all our social medias. You guys can check out Hoplon's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, even our LinkedIn pages. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email at info@hoploninfosec.com. We'll also be launching like monthly educational podcasts for you guys to check out. It's just to protect you, protect your business, and any information that you guys might need. And of course, our team is always available to you. Brock, thank you so much for your time, and thanks everyone. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.